Hey Green Bay, looking for something fun? Enter a new world of excitement at Edge VR Arcade. Compete with your friends or go solo in one of our 100 immersive experiences, ranging from exciting action-packed games, relaxing exploratory quests, and exhilarating VR escape rooms. We have something for every age and play style. Level up your next birthday or event with group games and a private party room. Explore an entirely new reality at Edge VR Arcade in Green Bay.
Welcome to the VRCade Podcast, a podcast by arcades for arcades. Today we have Sean from Edge VR Arcade in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Thank you for coming on, Sean. How are you today?
Oh, I'm doing well so far.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, we've had quite a few conversations on the phone, and last time we spoke, you said that you were doing some interesting stuff. So I thought I'd ask you to come onto the show. So thank you very much for coming on. And how are you, Mr. Chun?
Good, thank you so much, and looking forward to the episode. I think there's a lot to unravel, so yeah.
Yes, so let's start with this, Sean. Tell us something unique about the town that you're located in.
Well, we're in Green Bay, Wisconsin. So if you're familiar with American football, that would be the home of the Green Bay Packers,
Okay.
which has they're beloved all around America and as well as even the world. I've traveled a little bit, and it's funny to see a Green Bay Packer bar, a Packer bar out in out in California, or I know there are some also internationally, but
Yeah.
it's just that it's kind of it's called Titletown. We have the most wins, the most Super Bowl trophies, the wins, the World Championships, even though they're only happen in America, of course. But yeah, it's just got it's old school, with Lambeau Field. It's open. It's just like it's kind of the mecca for a lot of football fans. So the unique thing about that is it puts Green Bay on the map. Green Bay is more of like a medium market. Green Bay only has 100,000 people for population. Now with the surrounding areas, it's probably more like 200,000. But it's kind of it's a small town feel with a big town name.
Yeah, I'm not really well informed of American football, but I've definitely heard of the Green Bay Packers. So
Yeah, I'm not well informed with American football either. I don't really follow it much, but of course I know about the Packers because I live here. So
yeah,
kind of can't escape that.
yeah. So you're never got into it? Do you never play or anything? Or
I played in high school for a bit. My freshman and sophomore years, I got into it, but I never was really into sports. I mean, I got into esports a little bit and stuff like that, but I'm just not a huge sports fan. And even on the esports side of things, I'm more into the production, as you can kind of see, from our setup here, production side of things there.
yeah, we'll get into all of that definitely.
Oh, yeah.
We'll. Yeah.
I wanted to say that even me as a foreigner, I really love the sports American football. Started watching it like a few years ago.
Okay.
Maybe I will not have many fans after this statement, but I'm supporting the New York Giants, so just and yeah, I really love the sports, and really cool that you are such a small village, town, city, whatever, and have such a big sporting team.
Yeah, something that's new is we're hosting the NFL draft in 2025. So that's going to be a big event that a lot of businesses and people are the city's preparing for.
Nice.
So, nevertheless, we are in the gaming side of business, and I just wanted to ask you, what was your first gaming experience in general? Doesn't have to be virtual reality related.
Definitely. Try to think of the very first. It's going to be split between being in the physical arcade, arcade machines, the not Super Nintendo, the original NES, and Atari 2600. So that's kind of when I got into it. And I had a friend that had an Atari 2600, played like pole position and things like that, and Pitfall. And then I got into I was in the Boy Scouts, and I got I sold the most Pearson nut rolls, which is a candy bar in our troop, and my dad got me a NES for a prize for that. So that's when I got, of course, with the Super Mario Duck Hunt combo, really got into gaming that way. And from there, I had when we moved to Green Bay when I was about 12, I was like, was trying to make up my mind between Genesis and Super Nintendo. Back in the day at Blockbuster Video, I rented one of each and rented Mortal Kombat and Jurassic Park for each of them. and made my decision based on that. And I was a Sega fan ever since then.
Interestingly, I think a lot of people who got to try both consoles were in the end fans of Sega, I think.
Yeah, it's just at least with those two games, I really liked how they're presented. Of course, you could enter the blood code for Mortal Kombat,
Ah,
when, and then you couldn't do that for the SNES. And then Jurassic Park was more of the the platformer adventure instead of the almost the Doom clone that you had on SNES.
right, right.
But I mean, I did ended up joining it later on, but that helped make my decision. And from then on, then I owned a Sega CD, a Saturn, and Dreamcast is my favorite console of all time there. So at that point, I didn't really do much console gaming. I switched over to PC. Mainly became a PC gamer at that point.
It'd be great to see a Sega headset, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that would be very interesting to be. I mean, it's the part of their history too is they did almost release one. It was like back in the day. I forget the name of it. I don't. But it was. Yeah, it's interesting to look at the history of VR. Some of the early adoptions of it. I also own a Virtual Boy, which of course I was able to pick up used at like at a rummage sale around here. But yeah, there was man, I forget the name of it, but I used before when we first started the arcade, I used to do library tours around the area, just to do like a past, present, and future of VR,
Mm-hmm.
and then I would do demos in order to promote the arcade. And looking into the past of VR, there was a lot that was available like commercially. Some of the bigger ones that you could see, but Sega was planning on coming out with one. I'm pretty sure it was Sega. It was a little while since I looked into it, but it like didn't have head movement tracking stuff like that. But it was just, it was canned. The project was canned. They were afraid of people hurting themselves in their house, actually, which was what I remember one of the quotes being.
Yeah, that must have been what, the 90s, 2000s then, or
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, it would have been like 90s, yeah,
Yeah.
early 90s.
So did you get into VR with the Virtual Boy and then not released a Sega device, or was there another path to the VR world?
Well, for me, to the path to VR is just the concept I was very interested in, but a little bit of history. We can talk a little bit more detail, but I also was in video production. Me and my business partner were big tech heads and gamers, so we were very interested once Oculus started, making waves, and we had gotten the SDK2 kit
Mm-hmm.
from Oculus,
Yeah.
and we played Elite Dangerous on that. At the time, it was enabled, and that blew my mind. I was able to I pulled off this maneuver that blew my mind. Well, first of all, I was just playing it, and then I'm used to looking at the radar and tracking because you can't really look around. And then as soon as I figured out that I can track the enemy fighter in my cockpit by looking around, and that blew my mind. And then I did something where I like skirted across an asteroid type of thing like that with it just close to the cockpit, and it was just like, okay, I'm in love. And at first, we tried to implement VR. Well, we did successfully into our video production business, but we didn't make it our main thing. We've
Yeah.
done some larger projects for like Procter and Gamble and some things like that using a 6 GoPro setup, and then stitching that together. Also, being able to overlay on that with graphics and a little bit of interactivity, kind of like basically a 360 tour for some training for their facilities. And then from there, we were trying to, integrate that and court some construction companies to do CAD walkthroughs, for when they would pre-build for clients to be able to do VR walkthroughs with that, with their
Mhm.
CAD files. And didn't get too many people on board with that. And then from there, we wanted to develop our own game. If you're ever now they have a VR game on that Space Team. We were thinking about something along those times. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Space Team. Used to
No.
used to be a mobile game, and it was a multiplayer game, and you would have to try to communicate using ridiculous types of commands and names for things. You got to turn the Schnurgelflub 23 degrees. You're trying to like manage this as a team to try to keep your ship from exploding. So we wanted to do a VR version of that. Also, my business partner and I being big Star Trek fans, so we started on that path, but things didn't work out with. We had a friend that was a developer, and everything just fell through. So the idea of a VRCade came to fruition. Paying attention to those happening, and we opened up Edge VRCade in March of 2018. So that's kind of the path of VR for me.
Yeah, really interesting. And
Oh,
I think it's pretty rare that people start out as developers, but then end up as arcade owners. I
yeah,
think
it's
usually it's the other way
yeah,
around. Maybe.
yeah, we hadn't really dived too much into development. We were just kind of searching. We loved VR. We wanted to figure out where we could our
Yeah.
place within VR, and um, at that time in 2018, we had our video production company for about 6 years,
Hmm.
doing a lot there. So I was the director of post production. So I did editing, animation, sound design. I was also on set. We did a lot of tech stuff on set, like motion control, which is computer aided camera motion, so that you for visual effects, so you're able to repeat paths and do a lot of great things by repeating that camera, or time lapse trickery and stuff like that, where we would put someone in front of a green screen slow motion, and then we would do another take where we'd slow down the camera, and then we would do a time lapse, so it looks like you have somebody in a time lapse scene.
Hmm.
Some simple stuff. Well, I say simple, but that's just kind of like a little bit more less complicated than doing some visual effects types of shots where we did multiple layers to, like, we did one for a nonprofit organization where we had a guy sitting in a chair, and it was for suicide awareness, and he looked all together, and then as time went by, he's like the outer shell crumbled and he was disheveled underneath. So we did that with in 3D using projection mapping to be able to um, map that on him and crumble away his outer crust, his okay skin, I guess, into showing what's happening underneath him.
Interesting. So what?
So,
Done. Sorry.
so no, no problem. So yeah, I was just so it's like we've always been like into the tech stuff, and then VR was just the next step. And even now we utilize it a little bit where we have our virtual studio. If you're familiar with the Mandalorian, and I've seen the behind the scenes there. They're familiar with what's called the volume, using the LED screen stage with the ceiling and the full engulfing wall. Um, we have the poor man's version of that, where we use a short throw projector on the screen, large screen, and then that allows us to create a virtual set. We use a lot of AI tools to create either static images, for simple shots. Otherwise, we also use Unreal Engine and the Vive trackers in order to get that camera motion translated into Unreal, so that we can have that parallax and everything tracked.
Yeah, cool. So how did you choose the location? Are you located in the mall? Was it a different space before you moved in? And how did you choose it?
Well, when we were first thinking of creating an arcade, I was actually thinking about moving to a larger market, possibly like Madison, which is the capital of Wisconsin. But my business partner had the idea, like, why don't we just do it here? Which was the studio space that we already had. So that is an interesting path for us, because we were able to do things in steps and kind of incubate the arcade within a already functioning business that we had that could share expenses, already pay rent and everything like that. So we started out with 4 room scale stations. We call them booth stations. And we also had 2 Virtuix Omnis treadmills.
Mm.
And we also had a racing sim, which we used for next level racing. We had the motion seat with that as well. So that's what we started out with. We were unsure, but this market's a very conservative market. But one of our motivations for opening the arcade is that uh, there's not a whole ton of family entertainment places in Green Bay. If you're familiar with the news, you will know that Wisconsin has, out of the top 10 drunkest countries in America, we have 7 of them. So yeah, I'm not much of a drinker myself at all, but Green Bay is, I believe is number 1 or number 2, and then Appleton just south of us is right in the top 3 too. So it's basically like bars. There wasn't a whole lot of family entertainment, so that was our main focus to be able to do that. And with with VR and challenges of trying to communicate that to everyone that has no idea what it is and what kind of the concept is and what our format is. It's also why we chose arcade in our name, which a lot of virtual reality arcades also followed suit with that, because it kind of communicates what to expect, even though uh, if people can't really wrap their mind around VR until they really try it. Definitely if they're not even if they're not tech head. So we were able to start in that building, which we're near the airport here in Green Bay. We currently, well, we got to the point where we were renting the whole building. There's 6 suites in here, and that was split between 2 suites for our video production company, and then 4 suites that we had for the arcade. And we had gotten to that point in let's see, in the beginning of 2020, we had opened up a back suite where we had 8 VR stations, and that was kind of a private party room. And of course, COVID happened, so that was a lot of fun. Working to expand. 2019 was great. We were looking forward to 2020, and the universe threw a wrench into those plans. And then at that point, later on, 2020, we opened our LAN center, our PC cafe, where we do esports events in one of our suites as well.
Loads of different things going on.
Yeah, it's like I've been working 3 jobs for quite a few years here. A lot of different things going on. I just recently, in September, switched over to being 100% arcade operations. Before that, I was had my foot still as a director of post-production, and then also running the arcade primarily. And there was different phases of that in the beginning. More, it was pretty split between our business partners. What we needed to do. But as time went on, I gravitated more towards operating and running the arcade. And my business partner, who is our director of photography, he primarily runs Creative Edge Productions, which is our video production company. Which, after COVID, kind of we're more into doing video marketing rather than just being the, making the pretty pictures and handing it off. We're also guiding a lot of companies into how to implement the marketing side of things, because that was usually a weak spot for a lot of clients that we worked for, definitely with an emphasis on shorts right now. And my third business partner, he's doing retail training. He used to be a sales manager for a very large jewelry company, and so he offers basically he's the sales manager for the mom and pop stores with online weekly training at trainretail.com.
And were you all kind of friends beforehand? So you all knew each other?
Yeah. Before we started our video production company, Tony, that's the director of photography. We had become friends. We were both interested. We worked our day jobs, and film was our passion, and we were doing projects on the side. We met up on one project, and we worked well together. So we started working together more often. And then Jimmy, who is our third partner, I didn't meet him more until closer to when we actually started Creative Edge Productions. Okay. But and then during that time, I ran a YouTube channel with Tony called Next Wave DV. We would do film training, reviews and things like that. And then at one point, we were the most popular coverage of NAB, which is the National Associations of Broadcasters Convention in Vegas. Mm-hmm. So when we left YouTube to start our video production company, we were at 70,000 subscribers, and just letting that go, we're now at 100,000 subscribers, which Tony has restarted those efforts with the emphasis on video marketing. And I'm not involved with that anymore, but I used to be co-host with that, and then also, doing the interviews that we would do and reviews, and also tutorials on editing. Especially, we really hit at the HDSLR movement when DSLR started capturing video with the Canon 5D Mark II, and that's when we really jumped on the way. But before that, we were doing things like homemade jibs, out of 2x4s, about depth of field adapters on your camcorder, be able to attach interchangeable lenses so you can get the film look and stuff like that. So the HDSLR revolution really springboarded our entry into more content for YouTube, and then also our video production company. Mm-hmm. So yeah, so that's kind of the history of that. I think did I answer that question? I get in so many tangents. I just go off. It's hard for me to keep track of where I'm at.
No, I don't know. It is fine.
Add in the ADHD, and then it's just a disaster. So
yeah, no, you did answer it. No, all right, it's
perfect.
Great to hear. It's great to hear like how it all happened, basically.
Yeah, and if I'm talking too much, just tell me to shut up and move on to the next thing.
No, that's fine. That's really good. Thank you so much for all the insight.
So that's kind of like a history of everything like that and how we are here today. And just, things that we're currently working on right now. is we're working on opening a second location in Appleton, which is the city about 30 miles south. In this area of the country, in Midwest and Northeast Wisconsin, there isn't a ton of travel between those. If you're in a larger city, 30 minutes is nothing, for traveling. But around here, there's we probably get from the stats that I've run collecting the data from our customers to get probably close to 2 to 5% that come from Appleton that make that trip. There's just not as much cross talk there, and from doing the market research, we're looking at Appleton probably being a better market for us.
Okay.
A little bit higher, earn income per family in there, as well as there's a lot more entertainment options there. They have an Urban Air, which is a big trampoline park. Actually, we did get a Dave and Buster's here in Green Bay. I think it was in 2000 or 2021, which was a little nerve wracking.
Yeah.
But not really. I mean, we didn't view them as direct competition. It was more so of competition for the entertainment dollar, which is still going to pull away from, what we have to offer. But, we are different enough where we offer that. And yeah, so that's so we're currently working on our Appleton location. We're planning towards the end of the year to have that open, and that's going to be full Focus 3s. We'll have two dedicated medium-sized, 20-foot, 25-foot by 25-foot arenas, and then of course, we'll be able to switch that up to be a larger arena. We also plan on offering some leagues too, with be able to use the whole space because it's a 5,000 square foot space. And then we would do a 50-foot by 50-foot arena for some leagues that we would like to try to start too with our expertise in esports. So on the esports side of things, we currently run Titletown's esports program, which is associated with the Green Bay Packers. They're like the community outreach part of the community. Right at Lambeau Field of the stadium, right across it is the Titletown district, where they hold a lot of events. They have an ice skating rink. They have a tubing hill for when it snows called Aaron's Hill. They always throw a lot of community events, have concerts and stuff. So it's a really great community effort, and it's also they utilize a lot of local businesses. So it really helps a lot of small local businesses, and engaging with community content. So it's definitely a great organization, and we're privileged to be the official partner for their esports program.
And do you have much competition? I know you said Dave and Buster's. Is there any other arcades locally?
There isn't any direct VRCade that we're aware of, at least. That is closest is going to be Wisconsin Dells, which is like a entertainment, or it's a recreation type city. It's a tourist city for sure. That's Wisconsin Dells has a lot of water parks. They have the huge hotels that have water parks in them. They have a lot of like a Ripley's Believe It or Not. That's like I'm not sure if you're familiar with that. It's basically like like you'd go vacation there, and they have a lot of that. So I know that there's one hotel that has a zero latency there. There's another VRCade as well. I'm not too familiar with them, but we don't have any direct competition in the within 2 hours driving.
Oh.
Yeah, and then also Milwaukee, of course. There are some VRCades. So we'll see. Like after we open Appleton and get that going, and especially with the arena model, doing some more advanced things there. We'll see how things go, and then we might consider a larger market like Milwaukee or Madison.
Nice. When are you looking to open your other location?
I'm sorry, what was that?
When are you looking to open your second location? Do you have a kind of ETA?
We're planning on December.
Okay.
That's all just working and negotiating with our new landlord and figuring out that timeline there. So we would plan on actually getting in there and starting our build out in September and getting things going. And so that'll be after we also do here at our Green Bay location. We do summer camps. We do 2 different weeks of curriculum for VR. And we do 2 different weeks of curriculum for our Game Maker Camp, which we utilize our PCs for. So kids learn to make their own video game. Our beginner class is using RPG Maker, if you're familiar with that. It's a really great program where they don't have to know any coding, but they learn a lot of coding concepts. They learn database management, triggering, things like that. And then this year, the new curriculum will be using Game Maker because that just became free for non-commercial use. So the kids will in that one we're gonna teach them the basics of learning to make their own kind of platform style game.
Nice.
So yeah, that's great. That'll be our this will be our third year running summer camps. Last year we got pretty close to selling out on our summer camps, so that was great. Um, for our PC side of things with the game maker camps, we are able to do we hold 10 kids at a time for max capacity, and for VR it's 8 kids at a time. We have 12 stations at our arcade, but we like to keep the front floor in our room open and available because there's in the summer we usually open. Um, well, we'll see. I mean, it's varied. You know, like when we were busier, you know, before COVID, we opened at noon. During the summer, but just because of how different it's been, post COVID, we would still usually keep our open time at 3, but we might open at noon this summer again.
And with the summer camp, how long does it go? And do you even
Yes.
market it, or the people are just interested by coming by? And how
Oh
are they
yeah.
informed?
So our summer camps, I call them all inclusive. They're week-long day camps. So parents are able to drop their kids off at or as early as 7:30 in the morning. Because, as a single parent myself, well, my kids are older now, so they've moved out. But I understand that struggle. It's like if I want to do something, it's like I want to be able to drop them off before work and pick them up after. So that's kind of how I formatted it. And they last the whole day. Everything's included. So they get lunch, they get snacks, all hardware and software is included. The parents don't have to worry about anything. And then they also get to, of course, in the game maker camps, they keep the software. We include in the cost is for RPG Maker. That's one we have to pay for. But yeah, we charge $3.95 for the full week, and yeah, so it's like we do 1 week of each camp each month. So towards the end of June, we do 1 week of each camp. So that's four. Well, we do 2 weeks because we do the VR camp and the game maker camp at the same time because we have the different suites. And then we do VR camp 1 and game maker camp 1, and then VR camp 2 and game maker camp 2 the next week. And then we do that also in the middle of July, and then also at the beginning of August because August gets crazy towards the end because of schools. That there's with sports and other school programs starting to kick in before school starts, so that helps with availability there.
And on the esports side, you mentioned that you're also planning for the new location with building up something. Is this at the moment just flat screen related, or are you also planning to do something in VR?
So right now we are primarily flat screen related. With Titletown, we currently run with Rocket League because it's very accessible across all platforms and it's free. But we are looking at, our main expertise in esports is going to be League of Legends, Valorant, and Rocket League. I'm the expert in I'll say, in Rocket League. That's my game of choice. I have a little over 4,000 hours in Rocket League. Been playing it for quite a few years. My on the arcade side of things, my partner Aaron, he helps run our esports program. He's like I'm on the production side of things. I like that part of it, but he's the nuts and bolts. He's the game master. The gamification, coming up with the structure and everything like that. His main game is League of Legends, and he's got like over 10,000 hours in League of Legends. And so those are games of expertise, and Valorant we're also interested in. So we would like to hit way more esports titles and stuff like that, but with a small staff and everything, we just can't do that, especially in a smaller market. I mean, it's really great to be able to bring a professional side of esports to this area, but it's like to be realistic, we're not backed by VC money or anything like that. We're grassroots effort. So we used to. Just a small tidbit of information. Like I said, we used to rent all suites in the building here, but in last year, our 5-year lease came up, and we had a significant increase in rent by about 70%, and which was crazy. But we negotiated down a little bit. But part of that negotiation, we decided to move out of the one of the front suites that we had our 20 PCs in our bar. So we went down to 10 PCs. So we're not pushing our in-person events as much right now. We're trying to build the community more so online, and also work with partners like Titletown to do that. Because the great thing about the Titletown esports program is it's all online and virtual, but the finals are played in person live at Titletown Tech, which has a great facility. And so we're able to broadcast that live as well. So it's really great. A lot of people, especially younger generations, don't have the experience of being in the LAN or being live, playing live like that. So the energy is just amazing. And so it's really great to be able to bring that type of energy, like to bring that experience to a younger generation. I used to be involved in doing, helping out with a LAN party organization here in Green Bay. Back when LAN parties were a thing, we'd throw a big one each year for about 50 plus people. So just being involved with that, it was just kind of cool to be able to actually bring it into our business model. And that's the same type of story too, is, with our video production company, we're able to incubate the VR side of things and grow in stages. Whereas if we had probably started out that way, renting a building with a small amount of stations, everything like that, we probably would have had more difficulty getting started. But soon, especially through COVID, it's like first the video production company carried a lot of those expenses. And then we built up the arcade, and the arcade then, like especially through COVID, carried the video production company, for a bit. Now things are a little bit more even out as we expand. But it's like we were able to start the esports LAN center because of what we had established with the arcade too. So we were able to start that.
What would
What?
be
Sorry, sir. Go ahead.
okay? Sorry. What would be? Do you think would be the best game that you could host in VR for esports?
Okay, so when it comes to the VR esports side, in Appleton, we're planning on primarily being focused on our birthday parties and VR. We are not planning on doing an esports effort there yet. We do we used to have our Smash community, Smash Brothers here in Green Bay. For the communities in this area, we were the longest running venue that actually had the Smash scene. I forget how many weeks, over 160 weeks or so like that. So that was pretty great, but with our downsizing, we just couldn't support the community anymore. We're currently building a dedicated game room. That's also our dedicated party room. We might be able to bring that back here in Green Bay. But I think that's going to be better in Appleton. We had plans on doing something there. It's just a larger community in Appleton, south of us. So we will probably start that effort back up again when we have our arcade. But on the VR side of esports, yeah, we're gonna have to see. I mean, like, dreaming a little big here. I don't know if you're familiar with a game called After H. Yeah, we used to have that in the arcade way back when. It used to be, in that model, and then I remember looking in my library a few months ago. It's like, oh, hey, it's still in there, but why can't we play it? What's up with that? So I saw that there's the EVA. Must have purchased purchased all the rights to After H, and they do their esports, and I believe they're located out of France.
Okay.
They're headquartered in France, and you're talking about like actual like arena scale, uh, um, VR 5v5, and it's just like, so definitely check out eva.gg. That's something that dream a little bit big, that I'd like to get to that point to be able to offer something like that, even with the Rush Center here eventually, like maybe do something once a year. But to start out with, we'll have to see. It's like, I just got into doing arena scale VR. We do it on a mobile scale right now, so I offer that as a mobile service. Actually, this weekend I'm doing a pop up at our mall, at Bay Park Square, where we'll be in the center court, and I'm just renting daily there for the weekend, where we'll be having our mobile arena. So it'll just be the 20 feet by 20 feet, 4 headsets. Be utilizing IPs from Hero Zone, also from Spawn Point and Spree. I'm also looking into VR Arena. So there's VR esports arena. So there's a lot of IP out there that could be candidates, and we probably will mix it up too, and we'll see what our community likes. So it's like, since I'm just getting started in that space with our mobile service, that is, yeah, we'll see. We'll probably try out a few things. I mean, it'll probably be like an 8-week format, where teams will come and play. They'll get practice time plus some competition time, and then we'll end up doing the finals. And I can see that where it's like, in order to get familiarity and not learn team tactics, practice will probably primarily be, as a group, like just full on deathmatch, so that there's no, the tactics, just like to learn the map and learn some strategies and stuff like that. And so we got to figure out the format exactly and how we'll present it as a league option. But I'm pretty excited for it because, as we started our esports ventures, just like, man, what can we do with VR and how to make that work? I mean, we could really tried to push it here in the arcade with our room scale stations, but I just arena scale just makes so much sense when it comes to it that way for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And EVA has a pretty cool idea to, make VR esports happen. But I would like to know, do you think that is the way to go to just offer everything in free roam, VR esports wise, or do you think that it
Hmm.
should be also available in room scale because people maybe want to play and learn at home, as you do with the flat screen games? I mean, you guys
Sure.
know Rocket League, League of Legends, whatever. And you cannot do that with the VR esports, right? But then on the other hand, you don't do that with traditional sports. So is there
Right.
room for VR esports, and how do you think this will
Yeah.
develop?
Yeah, that's that exactly. That's the same thoughts too. Is like, if how do you get good? How do you practice as a team? How do you develop strategies? And there's definitely a lot of challenges that come to that. Bringing it to a more professional level as well. Bringing it into the scene on a higher end esports level. It'll be interesting to see. Um, Facilities are definitely going to be important to start out with because that, especially a lot of the IP that's being used is arcade dependent. It's not available to the public. Um, Now yeah, because that's going to be and that's why it's like it'd be experimental trying to figure that out, including practice time, including time to come in, as a team on their own, during certain hours and things like that. So there's definitely going to be a challenge into figuring out the format, but I think that the novelty of it and the hype around it is definitely going to have a lot of interest. So there's that, and we'll see. So I think that there'll be a good amount of interest, especially once our market starts to experience the arena model, and we'll see how we can format from there. I mean, like depending on what we're able to craft. Like I said, Aaron is great um, at creating a lot of the types of the nuts and bolts side of it, the gamification, the structure, and things like that. So together, I think that we'll be able to come up with a pretty solid type of format. That hopefully even that we could start to replicate to other arcades or offer, as consulting for that. We have done a lot of consulting with our esports programs when it comes to lots of different organizations. There's starting to be some more land centers that are popping up in Wisconsin, but for a time there, we were pretty much the only land center, even in Green Bay. And the amount of esports that we're doing as well too. We're definitely an authority in the state of Wisconsin as esports. We've helped out a few colleges with build outs or even like the YMCA, things like that. So that's the other side of our business too, that we're looking at, spreading esports and trying to bring something to the area that's unique. So hopefully we can make VR part of that, because I would absolutely love that. I don't know, just arena VR, arena scale VR in an esports type of feel is definitely going to be amazing. I know there's definitely been some efforts, especially with Echo Arena, that was such a unique game, and I haven't spent too much time researching too many esports side of things when it comes to the room scale options. I've seen a few of those productions, but like I think that the arena scale is definitely going to be where it's at. How much of that's going to be a spectator sport? That'll be interesting to see. We're currently partnered with the Green Bay Blizzard here in Green Bay, which is a IFL football league. That's indoor football league. So they play on a 50-yard field in arenas, and there's no out of bounds. It's got the barriers with pads. It's almost like hockey but football. And so we partner with them. Like you can see the background here. We do their podcast. I also do some video work for them for trade out. And this year we're doing during halftime we do a on-field demo of our VR arena. So I have 6 players out there. We're using Recoil by Spawn Point as the software that we run with that. So that's really cool. That's really great for promotion because people get an idea of what it's like. So
How long is half time then?
well, that's yeah. The league just enacted a new rule. They used to have longer time, but 15 minutes. So
15 minutes. Yeah.
I am one of yeah, I'm only one of many of the promotions on the field. So I go there hours beforehand when the field is open, get set up, make my tracking map, get everything running, and then I wait for a long time until halftime, and then we go out there and I got 2 minutes. So it is just a 2 minute round. It's really quick, but it's great promotion.
Yeah.
They have a MC that promotes the arcade during that time. On the jumbo, I give the feed to what the player reviews are to the jumbotron, hanging up there in the middle of the arena, and uh, the winner gets a gift card from the arcade. And then I also have I printed out a bunch of buy one get one, business cards that are just to promote, so they get to hand those out to their row and stuff like that when they win.
And do you get a lot of return from that? Do you get a lot of people coming in?
Well, we just started that
Okay.
in like late March, so yeah. So I've seen a couple come through, but yeah, time will tell. We'll see how effective that is, and that's something that I also integrated. We used to, when we would do events and we work with partners, whether it's like a local sports team and we would do something during the event, or any type of event, farmers markets, things like that. It's like we used to have cards that we would give away. If you come to the arcade, redeem this for a free drink. And we'd get those, come back. But it's like I just feel like we need something a little bit more incentivizing to get people into the arcade, especially that haven't, after 6 years now, that haven't been here. So I switched that to doing a buy one get one. And on my business cards, I have that printed too. So when I give a business card to somebody, just like if I don't have a chance to showcase them because they're here, they get to redeem that buy one get one.
Nice.
Now they've been around for a while, but one of the things we've recently implemented, well, of course, with Brilliant, we've added Plush Rush and Rotten Apple, which have been great. I love Rotten Apple. I explained it to our customers as if they're a fan of COD Zombies, that's like a really good. The Horde mode feels a lot like that. So it's a really great beginner zombie shooter to be able to just jump into with a lot of arcade mechanics. Same thing with Plush Rush because it fits that niche of having a great multiplayer kid style shooter.
Yeah.
And then we also implemented a lot of. I believe you're working on an escape room as well. So we work with RV VR and offer a lot of those escape rooms, and that's been great. I'm working on pushing those more with marketing, and um, I find that those are a great go-between. A lot of times, it's difficult to get people to understand VR, what a VR arcade is, because it's such a lofty concept, especially if they're not into the scene or into gaming.
Yeah.
And trying to translate it. Usually, that's why when we promo, we just give demos for free, because it's like you have to get in there. Richie's Plank, for first timers, it's just love throwing them in Richie's Plank because it really showcases that even though it's not real, you consciously know it, your body believes it. So it's their hands get sweaty. So a lot of people can't even leave the elevator, and it's just a great showcase for that. And we also use the blue
Yeah.
with the whale experience too. Just kind of show that, the sense of scale is great for that one, and it's really quick. So it's like, and then we also do other types of events. Like we work with Titletown sometimes to do family events when they have something going on at their facility. So we'll be out there for a couple hours, and they have a huge crowd. So that that's great. We get to promote ourselves. Plus, we get a lot of people coming through Trivia. The lines are always long, so we do anything from like Fruit Ninja to whatever, like really short experiences that are like under 5 minutes, just to get the max amount of people through. Now with the arena, we're trying to scale to do things more where we can get people in to experience arena instead of our normal room scale stations. And then I just remember too, like when marketing, like for our summer camps. Yeah, I definitely market those for sure. Market those a lot. And those they have their own separate marketing budget for that. And I'm definitely starting to push teaser like in December for getting signups for people who are interested to get notified when we go live. So kind of some pre-sales, and then we go live in as early as February. A lot of families are scheduling or planning their summers out, that early. So, and we offer a deposit option online, so it's all online. They can sign up. They can either pay in full or pay a deposit, and then I'll invoice them later. And that's been really great. And some other things that I'm trying, some new things this year is, well, obviously social media. Targeting with social media is great for that. But this year, now that I'm going to be doing some pop-ups at the mall, I'm going to be doing some vinyl table clings in their food court to promote our summer camps. So I'm going to be trying that out. Those are being printed right now, so I don't have any metrics on how effective that is. I'm also trying to push promotion too with it's called Money Saver. It's basically goes out to the whole area, about 100,000 homes through the mail, where it's just a coupon book. So very familiar with seeing that around before. So we're giving that a shot to see how effective that is. So just trying some other. I mean, social media is such a great ROI. If you know how to target correctly, you can really get a lot of bang for your buck. Also, we've done TV ads, being a video production company, we've done our own, high quality TV ads and marketing there. So TV, during the Blizzard games, during halftime and during the show, it's like, our commercial show for there, on the Jumbotron for that, and also on their streaming. And so, yeah, I'm just trying to look at other things to see how they go, more traditional routes, just to increase awareness that we exist. Even though we've been, in a smaller market with not much direct competition in the area, Dave and Buster's has a VR thing. There's a few out of the Hollowgate and things like that in their trampoline park, but not a dedicated VR arcade. So, let me just So, in those 6 years, we've still run into a lot of people that have no idea that we exist. So just trying to work on different ways to just bring up awareness, be top of mind. Of course, there's different campaigns for where we target, like for summer camps. I'm definitely targeting mothers of kids between age and 17. That really, that's really the most effective target for summer camps. Same thing with like birthday parties. And so we're going to try these more widespreading awareness campaigns as well too, just to and then also offer some great deals so that we can really try to pull people into the arcade. Especially, I think, with the escape rooms being such a good go-between, because a lot of people understand escape rooms, and it's a little bit closer to imagination to be able to understand a VR one, especially depending on the verbiage. I use the Alice VR escape room often because it's you open it, you're in the room, you open the chest, you drink a shrinking potion, and you shrink in real time, to really small, and then you go through the door. Or what's another one that I use? Yeah, the horror games, like the few horror escape rooms, and you have like House of Fear, you have a guy chasing you around with a chainsaw while you're trying to, escape the house. So it's like a lot of people really perk up with that idea. And I've been trying to get exit interviews with a lot of customers that try it for the first time too. They love escape rooms and try a VR escape room. And then they absolutely love it. And it's great to get their perspective too, because they explain things in a way that someone that is a veteran in VR doesn't really see things their way anymore. So that's really refreshing. Like one person said that like in a normal escape room, you might be in a room or two. But in a VR escape room, you can like travel between worlds and things like that. So it's like you have a whole world to explore. So that's just like, that's great stuff to be able to hear.
Yeah. Yeah, I did one escape room, which is Alice, I didn't with Chun, but he knew the whole thing. So I played for a little bit. So I just had the kind of feel for it. And it's so cool. VR escape rooms they're really cool. So I'll definitely do some more of those.
Yeah, for sure. I've, it's like, being a owner operator, and it's like I rarely find time to even game in VR anymore. Besides just like, yep, this passes the check.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and get it in there, And it's like there's a lot of the gaming experiences I get now is more so of just watching some Let's Plays, even online and stuff like that for regular gaming. It's like, I only have time really now for like Rocket League, because I can just jump in and it's like it's pretty easy. But it's like with the new Fallout series out too. On that's one of my favorite games series, and so it's like it'd be great to like. My problem with open world games like Skyrim and Fallout Fallout 3 I completed all the way because I was younger, but Fallout 4 it's like I just get sidetracked by all the side quests and exploring because I like to just explore every nook and cranny
I'm the
that I
same.
barely complete the main. So it's like okay, I just need to be disciplined and finish the main storyline for these and just buzz through them. But yeah, I don't realistically, I don't know. Maybe when I retire,
Yeah, yeah, and then
if that happens.
and then at the same time, it's like you want to do the side missions because you don't want it to end at the same time, right? So
Yeah, exactly. And it's, depending on the game, there's like a lot of those Easter eggs and a lot of the side questions
Yeah.
have great stories behind them too. So it's like I'm a storyteller. I love storytelling, and that's why I love gaming, film, and a lot of streaming shows, and that's why I got into what I got into. So, that's all satisfying to me.
yeah, yeah. Normally we ask people what their plans are for the future at the end of the podcast. So I mean, you filled us in on so much stuff. Is there anything else that you have planned for the future?
Well, yeah, intermediate, like I mentioned, our second location,
Yeah.
opening that up, and then possibly a location there. One of the dreams I had when we started our esports venture is having a small esport arena in the area. Green Bay is unique in that it's a smaller market, but because of the Green Bay Packers, it has a little bit of a larger infrastructure. So I thought that would be a great place to have some more larger esport events, especially as a hub to hold all of our high school state championships and college state championships. So I don't know. We'll see. It's like that was kind of the dream there. I don't know if Green Bay is 100% best just because of its northern location, but it is. There you got Chicago south, you got Detroit in the west, and Minneapolis in the east, and it's like there's also, because it's a smaller market too, it's not as expensive here to be able to pull that kind of stuff off. So it's just, COVID really threw a wrench, in that whole timeline stuff. So we're just trying to, figure that out. And, the right partner might come along where we can pursue that dream a little bit more. And maybe Madison or Milwaukee might be a better choice for something like that. There's already, some good effort going on in Milwaukee to do something similar. So we'll see how that goes. So that is one thing that would be great. And then that would be, not just the esports thing, but I would love to have a multi-use building there where it's, we're also able to implement the VRCade side of things, with some separation, have a gamer bar in there, just kind of create, something that would, have kind of the a separation with the family entertainment side of things like that. And then something a little bit more towards a younger demographic as well.
Nice. Sounds like you got so much planned, and there's loads going on, and keeping busy, right? So you probably will never retire, like you said.
It's like if there's always something. There's always a project. I mean, one of the things that I love too is just like small electronics engineering and things like that. Like this wall here, we built that from scratch. We do a lot of DIY. We do our own construction on things. Obviously, there's some things that are gonna be out of our scope. But like it comes to like integrating, I've got some pretty great design ideas for our facilities, utilizing some, LED light shows and stuff like that we can program and set up ourselves. So that's kind of a hobby of mine. I just, that also helps aid with this thing because I do our own repairs and, fixing and everything like that. So that really helps, as well. The other side that, in tune with, building all our own PCs, on the esports side of things too, is we also do custom builds for people in the area. And, we plan on expanding that, as we go to, once we get Appleton location pretty well going, the next idea would be to start to work into doing some more IT type of things along those lines too.
Well, thank you very much, Sean, for coming on. It's been great talking to you. We've learned loads, and it's great to see someone who's so active and you got your fingers in so many different pies, and just
sometimes it's just like, why am I doing so much? Sometimes I tell myself, but it's like, I mean, just, you got your dreams, and it's just like, going with the flow to see, how things pan out, and switching up, keeping it relevant, and not trying to be stagnant. So I really appreciate the opportunity to come on to your podcast and just talk about what we got going on.
Yeah, it's our pleasure. Chun, thank you very much as well for co-hosting with me, sir.
Yeah, thank you as well. And thank you to Sean for all the insight. It was really interesting.
All right, thanks. I appreciate it.
Right, everyone. Thank you very much for watching. If you're ever in Green Bay, you can check out Sean's Arcade. I'll put all the links down in the description, all of his social media, everything like that. So yeah, we'll see you in the next episode. Take care.